solve a couple of problems and then we will proceed further to the next part. Okay, so this problem is there in your problem sheet. Okay, so 10 kilogram of carbon monoxide at 40 degrees centigrade occupies 3 meter cube. Determine the gas pressure in bar. An additional mass of carbon monoxide is then very slowly added to raise the tank pressure to 10 bar. Assume that the gas temperature remains constant. How much extra mass has been added? Okay, so there are two questions here. One thing is they have given you the initial mass. So this is your M1. So M1 happens to be 10 kilogram. And this is your T1, which is 40 degrees centigrade. Okay. And this 3 meter cube happens to be your initial volume, which is 3 meter cube. And they want us to find the gas pressure in bar, which means they are asking us to estimate the value of pressure P1. Okay, so this is the first question. So what is the value of pressure P1? The second question is they are increasing the mass of carbon monoxide. Okay, so we do not know how much amount of mass is being added. So they want us to estimate what is the value of the additional mass, which means the final mass is M2, but they want us to estimate what is the difference between the final mass and the initial mass. That is going to be the additional mass. So how much amount of carbon monoxide has been added apart from the initial carbon monoxide? So we have to find out M2 minus M1. And the additional value which they have given us this 10 bar, which is the final pressure, which is P2. Okay. And one more thing which they have mentioned is the gas temperature remains constant, which means T1 equal to T2 equal to 40 degrees centigrade. Okay, so that is what they have given to us in the problem. These are all the given details. Okay, so let's go step by step. The first one is very simple. Everyone will be able to solve, I believe. So you simply use PV equal to MRT. Okay, here it is capital V. Don't forget that P capital V equal to MRT, P small v equal to RT. That should be there always in your memory. Okay, P capital V equal to MRT. So otherwise, we can call it as with the suffix 1 because we have two states here, state 1 and state 2. So P1 V1 equal to M1 RT1. Because the mass is changing, we can say there is M1 and then we have an M2 also. So we need to find out the value of P1. Sorry, this is not V2, this is V1. So P1 equal to M1 RT1 divided by V1. Okay, so you guys can substitute the values and check what answer you are getting. M1 RT1 divided by V1. So you can substitute the values. Mass is 10 kilograms. What about R? So what is the value of R? You may be tempted to write it as 287. 287 is the value of R for air. Okay, but the constituent that is given to us in the problem is not air. R for air is 287. That you can keep it in your memory. But that value 287 cannot be used here, and the unit is always joule per kilogram Kelvin. Whenever you write the value of the constants, learn to write it along with the units. Okay, so here what is given to us is carbon monoxide. So we need to know what is the molecular mass of carbon monoxide. Molecular mass of carbon monoxide is molecular mass of carbon plus molecular mass of one atom of oxygen. Molecular mass of carbon is 12. Molecular mass of oxygen, monoatomic oxygen, is 16. So what we have is 28. And the unit is kilogram per kilomole. Don't forget that. Mass by molecular mass by number of moles. Okay, so kilogram per kilomole, don't forget this. So how will you estimate this R? Last class we saw the formula for this. So R for carbon monoxide, R suffix carbon monoxide is equal to Ru divided by molecular mass of carbon monoxide. This we saw in the previous class. The formula is Ru divided by M. So what is the value of Ru? That is always constant, 8314.4. 8314.4 divided by 28. 831.4 divided by 28. You will get some answer, and that answer will be in joule per kilogram Kelvin, and that has to be substituted here for R. Okay, so get that value and substitute it here. The temperature T, it is given in 40 degrees centigrade. Last class we said temperature should be always substituted in Kelvin. So 40 plus 273 is 313. So that is your temperature, and the volume you divided by 3. So now you will get some answer. Okay, that will be in Newton per meter squared. You can convert that back to bar. Okay, so that is your P1. This is very, very simple. A simple 2-mark question, the first half. Okay, the second half, what when additional mass of carbon monoxide is added, they have said they now we have to estimate the value of M2. Okay, so how do we proceed further? So now we have to find out how much extra mass has been added. How do we proceed further? So what they have given is the P2 value is given to us. Okay, the value of R is going to remain the same. The value of the temperature is also going to remain the same, and we need to find out the value of the mass M2. Okay, they have simply said the carbon monoxide occupies 3 meter cube of volume. So we can't say V1 is equal to V2. There is no statement in the problem which conveys the message that V2 is equal to V1. So we can't take that step. Okay, but what we can see here is when we have a mass, or let me put it the other way around, when the gas pressure is how much, what is the value of the pressure that you get for this problem? What is the value of P1?
3.09 bar.
Okay, 3.09 bar. Okay, so 3.09 bar, when the pressure is 3.09 bar, okay, the mass happens to be 10 kilogram. Okay, and if the pressure is going to be 10 bar, then the problem statement itself tells me that there is an additional mass, which means the mass has increased, which means when pressure increases from 3 to 10, the mass also increases from 10 to something else, but there is an increase in mass when there is an increase in pressure. So we can say that the pressure is directly proportional to M. Is it not? When the pressure increases, the mass is increasing. That is what the problem statement is conveying to us. So we can say the pressure is proportional to mass. Okay, if the pressure is proportional to mass, then I can write this as P1 by M1 equal to P2 divided by M2. Guys, don't make this a formula. This is not a formula. This is something which we infer from the problem. Okay, because we cannot use V2 equal to 3 meter cube. Then we check what else can we use. Okay, the temperature remains constant. Okay, so if the temperature remains constant, uh, then we can try and write P2 equal to M2R T2 divided by V2. Okay, we know the value of pressure P2, which is 10 bar. We know the value of R because the R value of carbon monoxide is not going to change. Temperature T2 is once again 40 degrees centigrade, which is 313 Kelvin. But we don't know the value of this V2. So there are two unknowns, M2 and V2. So we cannot proceed further. So that is why when we check the problem, Again, then we find that when the mass is increasing, the pressure is also increasing. So we end up getting this particular formula. Okay, this formula is not applicable for every problem. For this problem alone, we can use this. Okay, now you will be able to get the value of this mass m2. So m2 is equal to p2 by p1 into m1. Try and check what value you get. Check, substitute the values. M2 is equal to p2 by p1 into m1.
32.8.
32.6 kilogram. So that is very obvious. So when the pressure has increased, the mass has also increased. Okay, so you are getting 36 point. Can you please repeat it? M2 is 36 point.
32 point
32.6 kilogram.
36, sir.
36. Okay, good. So the value that you get is 32.36 kilogram. Okay, so but what is asked in the problem is what is the additional mass, which means you have to subtract the initial mass. So m is equal to m2 minus m1, which means 32.36 minus 10. 10 is the initial value, so you end up getting 22.36 kilogram. 32.36 minus 10, so that finally we get 22.36 kilogram. Okay, so that is what we get here. So the book answer happens to be 22.28 and you are getting 22.36. No problem. Of 8-meter radius is floating in the atmosphere at 100 kilopascal pressure and 300 Kelvin temperature. Determine the mass and the number of moles of air displaced by the balloon. If hydrogen gas is filled in the balloon under the same conditions of temperature and pressure, calculate the mass and number of moles of hydrogen. Molecular mass of air and hydrogen are taken as 28.97 and 2 respectively. They have not mentioned the unit, but you should always remember molecular mass is mentioned in kilogram per kilomole. Don't forget that. Okay. And they have said it is a spherical balloon. The word spherical shows that it is in the form of a sphere. And they have given the radius, which means you have to find out the volume. So the volume of a sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So the volume of the balloon is given. So because it is a balloon, the volume is going to be constant because it is volume specific. It has got a shape. That volume is not going to change. Okay, so the volume remains constant here. So that is, so this 8-meter radius, you can take it as r suffix b for the balloon. So you can use the formula VB equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. 4 by 3 pi r cube, r suffix b, b for balloon. And if you substitute the value, you will get some answer in meter cube. So that is the volume of the balloon. That volume is not going to change because the shape is retained. Okay, and it is floating in the atmosphere at 100 kilopascal pressure. So 100 kilopascal pressure, they have given you the value of some pressure here and they have given you the value of a temperature. Okay, 300 Kelvin. The pressure 100 kilopascal can also be written as 1 bar. 100 into 10 to the power 3 pascal, or 1 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter squared. 1 into 10 to the power 5 becomes 1 bar. Okay, so 100 kilopascal is also equal to 1 bar. They are asking us to find out the mass and number of moles displaced by the balloon. So they want us to find what is the mass and what is the number of moles of air displaced by the balloon. Okay, and then they want us to change, instead of air, they want us to have hydrogen. So if hydrogen is filled in the balloon, then what is the amount of mass or the number of moles of air displaced by the balloon? It's a very simple problem. You see, they are giving you a balloon. So there is a balloon here. Okay, imagine that this is a balloon. Okay, and inside this balloon there is some amount of air, and they are asking us the mass and the number of moles of air displaced by the balloon. See, initially the balloon is very flat. Okay, which means no air is there. You pump in air and it expands. So this is the volume of air occupied by the balloon, inside the balloon. Initially it was like this. So as air gets filled up, the balloon is going to enlarge and it is going to displace the air surrounding it. Okay, so the displaced air is nothing but the volume of the air inside the balloon. How much amount of air is entering inside, that much amount of air, or that much, how much amount of volume is increasing here, that much amount of volume will be displaced outside. Okay, so both are one and the same. So you can calculate the mass of air inside the balloon, and that will be the mass of air that will be displaced by the balloon outside it. Okay, both are one and the same. So it is a simple PV equal to MRT relationship. Okay, V you are calculating here. Okay, so PV equal to MRT. Very simple relationship. So M is equal to PV by RT. The only thing is here you are using air. So you have to find out the value of R for air. If the molecular mass is not given, you can straight away use 287. Because the molecular mass is given, then you have to use the formula R air is equal to RU divided by molecular mass of air. So R for air, or for air equal to Ru divided by molecular mass of air. Ru is always 8314.4 and molecular mass of air is going to be 28.97. So you will get some answer in joule per kilogram Kelvin. So you know the value of R for air, you know the value for temperature, you know the value for pressure, you know the volume of the balloon. So now it is easy to get the value of the mass of the air inside the balloon or mass of the air displaced by the balloon. Both are one and the same. Once you know this, then they are asking us to find out the value of the number of moles. And this formula you are familiar with, you would have already studied this in chemistry. N equal to mass by molecular mass. You would have estimated mass. You know the molecular mass of air, that is 28.97, and you will get the answer in kilomoles. Okay, so you guys can substitute the value and get the answer. The second subdivision is the same. Instead of air, they are replacing it with hydrogen. There is no change in the value of the pressure or temperature or the radius of the balloon. Everything is the same. The only thing is they have changed the gas, which is hydrogen now. So if it is going to be hydrogen, then you have to replace this R for air with R for hydrogen. So R for hydrogen will be Ru divided by molecular mass of hydrogen. Molecular mass of hydrogen is 2. Okay. So you will get 8314.4 divided by 2, 4157.2. So that will be a higher R value. So the mass will be a little bit higher. Okay. And you can use the same formula once again, mass of hydrogen divided by molecular mass of hydrogen. Very simple. The problem is lengthy, but you can see that the answer is very simple. It's a very, very simple problem. Okay. So you guys can substitute the value and find the answer. Okay. So that is what is done here. They have estimated the value of R for air, R for hydrogen, volume of the balloon, and simply PV by RT and mass by molecular mass. Very simple here. Okay. So you guys can solve this on your own. Okay. Now, whatever we have seen in the previous problem, this is slightly extended here. Okay. A different problem, but an extension of what we have done before. An aerostat balloon is filled with hydrogen. It has a volume of 1000 meter cube at a temperature of 300 Kelvin and a pressure of 100 kilopascal. Determine the payload that can be lifted with the aid of aerostat. Okay. Determine the payload that can be lifted with the aid of aerostat. So what is given to you is the volume. The volume is given as 1000 meter cube. The temperature of air inside the balloon is 300 Kelvin and the pressure of air inside the balloon is 1 bar. Okay. So very simple relationship here, and they have said that it is filled with hydrogen. So you should use the value of R for hydrogen, Ru divided by molecular mass of hydrogen. Okay. So you have to use R of hydrogen. Now they are asking us to find out that what is the payload that can be lifted with the aid of the aerostat. Okay. So it is a very simple relationship. The same PV equal to MRT. PV equal to MRT. And R is for R of hydrogen. Okay. And T is the temperature. And now you will be able to get the mass. And my question to you is this. The mass that you find out, is it the payload that can be lifted with the aid of aerostat? What do they mean by the payload that can be lifted with the aid of aerostat? Which is, okay. See, now we have a balloon, okay, and inside the balloon we have hydrogen, okay. But what is outside the balloon? Is it hydrogen? It is air, okay. It is not hydrogen outside the balloon, it is air outside the balloon, okay. So outside we have air, inside we have hydrogen. So what we estimate will be the mass of the hydrogen here, okay. In the last problem, if you remember, the question was, determine the mass and the number of moles of air displaced by the balloon. Okay, and I told you the mass of air inside the balloon, is the mass of air displaced by the balloon. Both are one and the same. Okay, but in this particular question, both of them were air. Here also it was air, and outside also it was air. Here also it was hydrogen, outside also it was hydrogen. Okay, but if you look at this particular problem, they have not mentioned anything. They have simply said it is hydrogen inside the balloon. So by common sense, we have to take it is air outside the balloon, because that is the default condition. Okay, so now the mass of air, or the mass of hydrogen inside the balloon, or instead of using the word mass, let me use the word volume. The volume of hydrogen inside the balloon is equal to the volume of air displaced by the balloon. Volume of air displaced by the balloon. So this is the volume of hydrogen inside. Okay, this is inside. This is inside the balloon. See, I can't write everything, so you guys can frame that sentence. Volume of hydrogen inside the balloon is equal to volume of air displaced by the balloon. Please write that statement. Volume of hydrogen inside the balloon is equal to volume of air displaced by the balloon. Okay, volume of hydrogen inside the balloon equal to volume of air displaced by the balloon. Okay, and what you have to check is, because we have solved the previous problem, if you guys have tried it, you would find in the previous problem the mass of hydrogen was greater than the mass of air. See, mass of hydrogen here is 172 kilogram and mass of air is 2491 kilogram. So 2491 kilogram is the mass of air. So that is greater than the mass of hydrogen. Okay. So now if you look at here also, so the same condition will prevail. So the mass of hydrogen will be lesser, but the mass of air displaced will be larger. Okay. So if we solve this, so if you can first find out the value of the mass of hydrogen here, the mass of hydrogen here, and that happens to be 80.18. According to the book, the mass of hydrogen inside the balloon is 80.18 kilogram. If you substitute everything here using this particular formula, your mass of hydrogen is 80.18 kilogram. Now what you have to do is use the same equation, and instead of R of hydrogen, substitute R of air and find out what is the equivalent. What will be the mass of air displaced by the balloon outside? The volume of hydrogen inside the balloon is equal to the volume of air displaced by the balloon. So if you use the same thing here, to estimate, or if you replace hydrogen with air, you will get some value here. Okay, and that value is 1161.44. So that is 1161.44. See, when I replace hydrogen with air, the mass of air inside would be 1161.44. Okay, and that would be the amount of air that will be displaced by the balloon. When the mass of when I use hydrogen inside, the mass is only 80.18. But 80.18 kilogram of hydrogen will be displacing 1161.44 kilogram of air. That is the equivalent value. Okay, the actual mass is 80.18, but because the surrounding is air, you can actually displace 1161.44 kilogram of air for this much volume of balloon. Okay, so now if you can subtract this value from here, that is the payload that can be lifted. Are you guys able to understand this? See, if I have the mass of hydrogen, so the mass of hydrogen is 80.18. So this 80.18 kilogram of hydrogen will be now displacing only 80.18 kilogram of air surrounding it. Okay, but if I replace this hydrogen with air, I would be displacing 1161.44 kilogram. Okay, so that much amount of air can be displaced by a balloon having a volume of 1000 meter cube. But because I'm using only hydrogen, now I will be able to displace only 80.18. But the maximum volume, that maximum weight or the maximum mass that can be displaced is 1161.44. So we subtract this from this, so that would be the maximum payload that can be lifted. Okay, that is what is mentioned here. So the volume displaced by the balloon will be equal to the volume of air equivalent to the volume of the balloon. Okay, so I am replacing air instead of hydrogen, and this will be the maximum volume of air that can be inside the balloon or that can be displaced by the balloon. So the payload that can be lifted is the subtraction of the two values, which is 1081.26 kilogram. I'm not sure whether you guys have followed it. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Are you able to guys understand this?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear? Okay, very simple problem. You see, we are simply using the ideal gas equation of state. Yes.
So the 80 kg of hydrogen can lift only another 80 kg, sir. So that's why we are subtracting.
No. It is not like that. See, 80 kg of hydrogen is the mass. Okay. If I go to the previous slide, see, the volume of the balloon is 1000 meter cube. Okay. For 1000 meter cube volume of the balloon, if I use hydrogen, the mass of the hydrogen that can be accommodated inside the balloon is only 80.18. Okay, and it will be able to displace only 80.18 kilogram of air. But if I use air, okay, the maximum for a volume of 1000 meter cube, the volume of the balloon is 1000 meter cube. For 1000 meter cube volume of the balloon, if I use air, it will be able to displace 1161.44. ஹைட்ரஜன் யூஸ் பண்ணா என்னால 80.18 மட்டும் தான் டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்ண முடியும். அப்படி சொல்லக்கூடாது. ஹைட்ரஜன் யூஸ் பண்ணா 80.18 kg தான் எனக்கு ஹைட்ரஜனோட மாஸ் இருக்கு. அதனால என்னால அதுக்கு ஈக்குவலண்டா 80.18 kg ஆஃப் ஏரை நான் டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்றேன். ஆனா மேக்சிமம் இந்த பலூனோட வால்யூமுக்கு எவ்வளவு டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்ணலாம்? 1161.44 டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்ணலாம். ஆனா நான் இப்ப எவ்வளவுதான் டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்ணிருக்கேன்? 80.18 தான் டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்ணிருக்கேன். மேக்ஸிமம் 1161.44 டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்ணலாம். ஆனா 80.18 டிஸ்பிளேஸ் அவ்வளவுதான் டிஸ்பிளேஸ் ஆயிருக்கு. அப்போ மிச்ச வெயிட்டை நான் என்ன பண்ணலாம்? ஒரு பேலோடா இதுக்கு கீழே ஒரு பேஸ்கெட்டையோ இல்ல ஒரு வெயிட்டையோ கொடுத்து நான் என்ன செய்யலாம்? லிஃப்ட் பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. ஆர் யூ ஏபிள் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட்? ஃபாலோ பண்ண முடியுதா?
எஸ் சார்.
ஓகே, இதனுடைய மாஸ் தான் 80.18. ஆனா மேக்ஸிமம் நான் 1161.44 டிஸ்பிளேஸ் பண்ணலாம். அதனால நான் என்ன செய்யறேன்னா இது ரெண்டையும் கழிச்சிட்டு மிச்சம் இருக்கிற வெயிட்டை அதுக்கு பேலோட நான் அட்டாச் பண்ணிடுறேன். அப்போ அதால இந்த 80.18 மாசால இது என்ன செய்ய முடியும்? லிஃப்ட் பண்ண முடியும்னு சொல்றேன். இஸ் தட் கிளியர்? ஓகே.
எஸ் சார்.
ஓகே, ஃபைன். Okay, so this is very simple problem. You can see it's a very simple equation, right? Ideal gas equation of very simple equation, and we have to slightly think and we are able to arrive at this result. Okay, don't worry, these sort of problems you may not be getting in our semester question paper, but maybe when you appear for some competitive exams or maybe for your placements, this may be helpful. Okay. This is another problem which is a little bit thought provoking. Okay, a room of 1000 meter cube volume contains air at 1 bar and 300 Kelvin. Okay, so there is a room of 1000 meter cube volume, and pressure and temperature is given. So this is the volume of the room. So let's say VR, and it contains air at some pressure and some temperature. So in the room, there is a balloon which contains air at 300 Kelvin, which means the temperature remains the same. So there is a balloon inside this room. Okay, so there is a balloon inside this room. Suddenly the balloon bursts. Before any air can escape through the doors or windows, which means this particular room is perfectly insulated without or perfectly closed. Instead of saying insulated, let me say it is closed. There is no way of escape. The pressure in the room becomes 1.3 bar. So they are talking about another state. So let's say this is P1 and this is T1, and this 1.3 bar happens to be P2. Okay, so this is the final state that they are giving. While its temperature is still 300 Kelvin, so T1 is equal to T2. If the volume of the balloon was 50 meter cube, so this is VB. Volume of the balloon is only 50 meter cube. Find the mass of air originally in the room. So they want us to exclude the balloon and find the mass of air originally in the room. That means before the balloon bursts. Then they want us to find initial pressure and bar of air in the balloon. They want us to find before bursting what was the pressure of air inside the balloon. And then they want us to find the final mass of air in the room. After bursting, what is the mass of air that is inside the room? Okay, so let's go step by step. So this is the problem statement. They have given us all these conditions and they want us to find mass of air originally inside the room, outside the balloon. And by looking at it, you will be very easily able to say that you have to use ideal gas equation of state. You have to simply use PV equal to MRT. Okay, but what are they asking? Mass of air originally in the room. So let's first solve subdivision A. Mass of air originally inside the room, outside the balloon. So what is the volume here? They are talking about volume of the room, but they are excluding the volume of the balloon. So it is, okay, we were talking about this problem. So there was a room, 1000 meter cube volume, and inside the room there is a balloon, and the volume of the balloon is 50 meter cube. Okay, so we were solving this mass of air originally in the room. So we subtracted the volume of the balloon from the volume of the room, and we found that it was 950 meter cube. Okay, so the volume was 950 meter cube, and we called that volume as the initial volume, so that is V1. And it is simple ideal gas equation of state, which is P1 V1 equal to M1 RT1. Okay, so You know the value of the pressure, you know the value of the temperature, you know the value of volume, and R for air is 287. So you can get the mass of air originally in the room. The only thing you have to concentrate is this V1 because you are excluding the balloon. So the volume is 950. Okay. And if you substitute the value, you will get the value of M1. Okay. That is quite simple. Subdivision B, we can't solve it now. Only after solving subdivision C, we will be able to solve subdivision B. Okay. Final mass of air in the room. So when they talk about final mass of air inside the room, that means after the balloon bursts. Okay. So P2 V2 equal to M2 R T2. Or we will say, okay, let's say M2 R T2. What about the pressure? They have given the value of pressure as 1.3 bar. So that is your P2. They have given the value of temperature T2, which is 300 Kelvin. So you know the value of the pressure, you know the value of the temperature, you know the value of R, which is 287 joule per kilogram Kelvin. And what about this volume V2? So this volume is not 950 meter cube. So this volume is the volume of the air inside after the balloon bursts. So that would be 950 plus 50, which is the 1000. So here V2 would be 1000 meter cube. That is the total volume. When the balloon bursts, that 50 meter cube of air inside the balloon also comes inside the room. So the total mass of air inside the room after the balloon bursts is 1000 meter cube. So now you will be able to get the final mass of air inside the room. So that is your M2. Okay. And now they are asking us to find out. So that is subdivision C. So what about subdivision B? They are asking us to find the initial pressure of air in the balloon. Okay. Why I said we can do that after this is we need to know what is the volume of air inside the balloon. The volume of air inside the balloon is going to be 50 meter cube. So that is 50. So we know the volume is 50 meter cube. And they have said that the temperature is 300 Kelvin, right? In the room, there is a balloon which contains air at 300 Kelvin. So the temperature of air inside the balloon is also 300 Kelvin. So the temperature is 300 Kelvin. Okay. Now what we need to know is they are asking us to find the initial pressure of air inside the balloon, which means now we have to use the formula PV equal to MRT, or everywhere you can use the suffix B. PBVB equal to mass of air inside the balloon. So that is also MB. I'm not talking about mass of the balloon, mass of air inside the balloon. R is for air, so that does not change. That is still 287. Okay, and we want to estimate the value of the pressure. Okay, this is what we are going to find out. So it is simply MRT divided by V. Okay, this we know. VB is 50 meter cube, no doubt about it. R is 287. Temperature TB is 300 Kelvin. Do we know the mass of air inside the balloon? We do not know. Okay, that is what we will be estimating from the subdivision A and B. Subdivision A gives you the mass of air inside the room before the balloon bursts. M2 is the mass of air inside the room after the balloon bursts. So M2 minus M1 will give you the mass of air inside the balloon. Okay. So MB is equal to M2 minus M1. And that you can substitute it here. When you substitute that MB also, then you will be able to get the value of the pressure, initial pressure of air inside the balloon. Is that clear, guys? Okay. So that will give you the value of the initial pressure of air inside the balloon. Okay. So we have solved subdivision A and C first. So this is final mass of air inside the room, that is subdivision C. So here I have used the word F for final, and in there when I solved it, I used the word 2. Both are one and the same, so it's not an issue. and we end up getting these values. Okay, so you can substitute the values and you can check them. Okay, so these are some of the examples from ideal gas equation of state. So some of the questions which I have given, that is just for the broadening of the mind, just to show you how different problems can be asked in thermodynamics. So each and every problem can be unique. We have to think a little bit to get the answer. Though the couple of problems which we have solved before, they may not be there in your, they may not turn in your semester question paper, but surely you may get them in your competitive exams, maybe GATE exams. Such kind of problems can be of some help to you. Okay, now let's see what about this deviation from the ideal gas behavior. So we have talked about ideal gas equation of state, PV equal to mRT or P small v equal to RT. It is not applicable everywhere. As I told you, this equation P small v equal to RT is applicable only for gases with low density. When you say low density, only lesser number of molecules are occupying more space. Okay, so such a condition is applicable when the pressure is low. When the pressure is low, when you say pressure is low, one molecule is not exerting its pressure on another molecule, because the distance of separation is large, the pressure is less, low pressure. Or in other words, we can say the forces of attraction or repulsion is less in case of a low dense gas. The other part could be high temperature. When the gas is at high temperature, these molecules will be possessing large amount of energy, and at high temperature gases usually they possess large amount of energy, and they move from the electrons, they move from one level to another level, you know, all these things. So they will be vibrating, and at that particular point also they will be separated from each other. Okay, so in these two conditions, at low pressures and at high temperatures, gases exhibit ideal gas behavior, or they exhibit the nature, or they solve, or they satisfy the equation P small v equal to RT. Okay, so that is what is mentioned here. At very low density of gases, the average distance between the molecule is so large. When the average distance between the molecule is so large, then the forces of attraction and repulsion, they are not going to come into picture. Okay, and because the average distance between the molecule is so large, the average distance between the molecules will be greater than the volume of the molecules themselves. Okay, so in such criteria we go for ideal gas behavior. Okay, so where the particles are independent of each other. Okay, and then the deviation from this, so if the gas is not low dense, if it is not of low density, then there is a deviation from ideal gas behavior. And one such equation of state is the van der Waals equation of state. And the equation I have shown you here, P plus A by V bar squared into V bar minus B equal to RU into T. And there is a lot of difference here. So it is PV equal to RT, or if it is in terms of V bar, PV bar equal to RU into T. Okay, or P small v equal to NRU into T. Okay, so here it is P V bar equal to RU into T. Here it is P plus A by V bar squared into V bar minus B is equal to RU into T. So this P and this V bar you can see here in ideal gas equation of state alone also. But there is some additional term A by V squared, and there is an additional term B. And these two A and B are constants. Okay, and they are introduced to compensate for, or as a correction factor for the deviation from the ideal gas behavior. And this A by V bar squared is introduced to compensate for the attraction or the repulsion between the molecules. That is the significance of using the constant A. A by V bar squared, that is called the force of cohesion. Okay, they call it as force of cohesion, and this is being introduced to compensate for the forces of attraction or repulsion between the molecules. And B is given to account for the volume of the molecules. If you look at the ideal gas behavior, the average distance between the molecule is so large. Okay. But if the density is high, so if it is a low dense gas, one molecule may be here and the other molecule may be here. Look at the volume of this particular molecule. It is very small, right? And look at the distance between these two molecules. The distance between these two molecules is greater than the volume of the molecules themselves. Okay. But imagine another condition. Okay. I have one molecule here and I have another molecule here. Now, if you look, the distance is smaller, but the volume themselves is larger. So the volume of the molecule is larger than the distance between the molecule. So in such case, to compensate for this, the distance between the molecules, you go for the constant B, and that is called as co-volume. A by V bar squared is called as force of cohesion, and B is called as co-volume. Okay, and this van der Waals equation of state is not valid everywhere. It is applicable only at higher pressures. Okay, it is not valid in all ranges of pressure and temperature. It is valid only at higher pressure. Okay, and remember the equation. It is not P plus A by V bar squared divided into V bar minus B equal to RU into T. You may be tempted to write it as P plus A by V squared into V minus B. Okay, it is not A by V squared, it is A by V bar squared. Okay, and if you substitute the values, you will end up getting a wrong answer. Okay, so make a note of it. It is not V, it is V bar. Okay, and it is not R, it is RU. Whenever you have V bar, you will have RU. V bar is meter cube per kilomole, so RU is also joule per kilomole Kelvin. R is joule per kilogram Kelvin. So the units have to be consistent, so keep that in mind. So van der Waals equation of state shows a deviation from the ideal gas behavior. Okay, and there is one another means by which we can identify the deviation from the ideal gas behavior, and we can do that by using something called compressibility factor. Okay, and that is nothing but Z. Okay, and Z is equal to PV divided by RT, P small v divided by RT. And if you use it, or if you rearrange it, you will get it as PV equal to ZRT, P small v equal to RT. If you remember, that is your ideal gas equation of state. P small v equal to RT. And when you define Z as PV by RT, when you define Z equal to PV by RT, so PV is equal to RT, so they can cancel out each other. So your Z will be equal to 1. Your Z will be equal to 1 when PV is equal to RT. PV is equal to RT for an ideal gas. So for an ideal gas, Z will be equal to 1. Z is unity for an ideal gas. So whenever you have a value for Z other than 1, then you can understand that the gas is not ideal, it is a real gas. Okay, a real gas is not going to be an ideal gas, a deviation from the ideal gas behavior. Maybe a real gas can behave like an ideal gas. Okay, real gas means the gas which we actually take for solving a problem. So the real gas will exhibit a behavior when Z is not equal to 1. So whenever your Z is not equal to 1, then there is a deviation from ideal gas equation of state. Okay, and if you remember in the last class, we said something like this: whenever the pressure is 0, then we can call that as ideal gas equation of state. Okay, so here there is a graph between pressure and compressibility factor. So this is your Z. Okay, and this is your pressure. So pressure along the x-axis and Z along the y-axis. And you can see here you have got pressure 0. Okay, So here you have got different temperatures: 110 Kelvin, 130 Kelvin, 150 Kelvin, 200 Kelvin, and 300 Kelvin. And all these curves, they reach the y-axis, and you can see that if you extend all these curves, they try and reach z equal to 1. If you just extend all these curves, they approach 1. Okay, and when they approach 1, what is the value of pressure here in the x-axis? That is 0. Okay, the corresponding value for z equal to 1 here is 0. Okay, so when the pressure reaches 0, your when the pressure tends to 0, your z tends to 1. That is what is mentioned here at all temperatures. See, look at this. At all temperatures: 110 Kelvin, 130 Kelvin, 150 Kelvin, 200 Kelvin, 300 Kelvin, and all these temperatures, when the curve is extended, it tries to reach z equal to 1 and p equal to 0. That is what is mentioned here. Z tends to 1 when p tends to 0. So as pressure approaches 0, ideal gas equation of state is applicable. That is what we said. At low pressure, the forces of attraction and repulsion between the molecule is negligible. So we always refer that as ideal gas equation of state. And look at the second point. As temperature approaches above 300 Kelvin, 300 Kelvin and above. So 300 Kelvin and above. So if the temperature is more than 300 Kelvin, Z once again approaches unity. That is for high temperature. So for low pressure and high temperatures, your gas behaves as an ideal gas. Okay, and at low pressures, at low temperatures and high pressures, your Z deviates from ideal gas value. Okay, so to measure, so whenever when you have a deviation from the ideal gas equation of state, you have other equations of state coming into picture and define the properties in that particular range. And one such example is Van der Waals equation of state and compressibility factor. Okay. So we have something called compressibility chart. I have shared that chart in our WhatsApp group. I will also put that in our Google Classroom. I forgot to do that in Google Classroom. I will do that. Okay. So compressibility chart, if you look at it, so this is the compressibility chart. Okay. So you can see that it is done for various substances. I'll tell you what this TR, PR, and Z. Z you are familiar, which is the compressibility factor, and it is defined as PV by RT. And you can see that there is methane, ethylene, ethane, propane, butane, and so many values are there. Okay. So this is how the compressibility chart appears. Okay. Uh, the compressibility chart for different substances. See here, for a particular TR equal to 1.5, here there is a black dot. If you join all these black dots, up to that you have got the black dots. Okay, and if you look at this with a cross mark, circle and a cross mark, you have got another curve. Okay, let me take black, and here you have a triangle. See, and if you join all the triangle, you will get another curve. But if you look at it, this black color curve and the green color curve, they are similar. Similarly, let me take blue. See here, there is an into mark, a cross mark. Join all the cross mark. And this cross mark goes even over here. And the triangle also comes over here. Okay. And you can find that the shape of the curve for a particular temperature for all these substances is the same. Okay. The value will be different. The values are different, but the shape remains the same. That is what is mentioned in the previous slide. Okay, when the compressibility charts are considered for pure substances, all charts appear alike in appearance. In appearance, they are alike, but in values, so quantitatively means values. The values are different, but in appearance, they are alike. So what they decided is, let us put them in a common basis. So what they did is they used the critical values. So they defined something called reduced properties. They are called as reduced properties. So PR, TR, VR, reduced pressure, reduced temperature, reduced volume. They defined something called as reduced properties. Okay. And that reduced property is defined as the given pressure divided by the critical pressure. Critical pressure for each substance we know. You know what is the critical point? The critical point is the point where you will not be able to distinguish between a saturated liquid and a saturated vapor. So that critical point is there for steel, and there is critical point for each and every substance. So that critical pressure, you know, the temperature, the given pressure divided by critical pressure will give you reduced pressure. The given temperature divided by the critical temperature will give you the reduced temperature. The given volume divided by the critical volume will give you the reduced volume. And when they used these values, and that is what you can find here, reduced pressure is there in the x-axis, and TR is the reduced temperature, and that is being used for different curves. So TR equal to 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, and 2. Okay. And when they do that, they are able to get the curves very closely. You can see I have showed you know this green color, this red color line, this green color line, this blue color line, this black color line. They are all very close to very closer to each other for a TR of 1.5. Just like I did for this case, you can do it for other cases also. Here you have got this black color circle. Here you have got the square. They are very close. They are not at the same point, but they are very close. And they have fitted a best line, a best curve here, and that is the common curve that you get for this particular reduced temperature. Okay. And now what you can do is you can estimate the value of the reduced temperature and the reduced pressure, and you can get the compressibility value. So you can use the relation PV equal to ZRT, PV equal to ZRT, and you can get the value of Z from this compressibility chart depending upon the reduced properties that is being given, and using that also you can solve the problems. Okay, and the compressibility chart will be very helpful, okay, in solving such problems. Okay, one example we can take. So this example is taken from PK Nag. Okay, so I'll take the red color. So they have said that the gas neon has a molecular weight of 20.183. They have given the critical temperature, pressure, and volume. So this is TC, PC, and VC. Okay. What they have actually given is VC bar, meter cube per kilomole. So it is VC bar. Reading from a compressibility chart for a reduced pressure of 2. So they have given the value of reduced pressure PR. So this is P suffix R, and this is T suffix R, and the compressibility factor is also given to you straight away. Z is 0.07. If this is not given, then you have to read it from the chart. Okay, what are the corresponding specific volume, pressure, temperature, and reduced volume? Okay, so that is the question. Okay, so they have given you the molecular weight, and the unit for molecular weight is kilogram per kilomole. Before proceeding the further, first thing that we need to do is we convert this VC bar to VC. This VC bar is in meter cube per kilogram, meter cube per kilomole. But what we need is meter cube per kilogram. Okay. So uh, so if you need VC, VC is equal to VC bar divided by molecular mass. That will give you the value in meter cube per kilogram. Now you know the value of VC also. They are asking us to find specific volume, pressure and temperature. Okay. They have given you the values of PR and PC, TR and TC. And we know by definition, PR is equal to P by PC. That is the definition. PR is equal to P by PC. TR is equal to T by TC. And now they want us to find the value of T and P. So it is simply cross multiplying PR and PC. P equal to PR into PC. T equal to TR into TC. Okay. So it is quite simple. So you have to multiply PR and PC. You have to multiply TR and TC. So that will give you the values of pressure and temperature. Okay. And now they are asking us to find out the value of the specific volume also. And they want us to find the reduced volume. Just now we found out the value of VC. Okay. But we can first find out the value of small v by using the relation P small v is equal to ZRT. R you can find out using RU by molecular mass of neon. Okay, so 8314.4 divided by, so this R is R for neon. 8314.4 divided by 20.183. So R value is known, Z value is given as 0.7. Temperature we have found out just now, pressure we have found out just now. So you can estimate the value of the specific volume in meter cube per kilogram. So that is your specific volume V. And then you have to find out reduced volume. So that is also a specific volume. So reduced volume is V by VC. So just now you have found out V. Now you will be able to find out VR as well, V by VC. VC is given to us in the problem. Okay. Is that clear? A very simple problem only. Okay, here we have not used the chart. We have just straight away all the values are given to us in the problem. We have just substituted the values and we have ended up getting this particular answer. Okay, a very simple problem in compressibility chart. Okay, and that too the values are given straight away. We have not used the chart at all. Okay, because we have missed a lot of classes and then we lose this internet connection and all these problems that we have. Okay, so I'm just moving further. I'll share the slide with you so you can copy the answer or you can try solving it on your own. Okay. So 1 mole of carbon dioxide at 88.7 bar and 61 degrees centigrade is compressed in a reversible isothermal manner till the volume halves. Calculate the work transfer during the process. Okay, I have taken this example because we will be using the compressibility chart here. That is why I have taken this particular problem. Okay, this is not actually mentioned, but we are going to use compressibility chart here. So they have given 1 mole. You can also consider it as 1 kilomole. So N equal to 1 kilomole. Or you can change the problem as 1 kilomole. In the problem, we will change it as 1 kilomole, 1 kilomole of carbon dioxide. Okay. And initially it is at a pressure. So this is the pressure, 88.7 bar. And the temperature is 61 degrees centigrade converted to Kelvin. So 61 plus 273. It should be 334 Kelvin. Is that correct? Check it. 273 plus 61 in a reversible isothermal manner till the volume halves. So V2 is V1 divided by 2. That is what is given to us, and they want us to find the work transfer. And they have said it is an isothermal process. We know there is no additional mass or something is added, so it can be treated as a closed system. So W is integral PdV. Okay. Okay, I have nothing is mentioned here, but I am considering it to be a real gas. Okay, so if it is a real gas, then it will obey PV equal to ZRT. Okay, it will obey PV equal to ZRT. Okay, in the problem it is not mentioned. Where is it? PC is 73.9 bar and TC is 304 Kelvin. 73.9 and 304 Kelvin. 73.9. This will be given to you in the problem, don't worry. I have failed to add it in the question. So 73.9 bar and TC is 304 Kelvin. Okay, these are all the given details. Okay, so if I have to replace this P inside the integral, it will be ZRT divided by small v. Okay, we know the value of R. R can be estimated by Ru divided by molecular mass of carbon dioxide. Molecular mass of carbon dioxide is C plus O2, so 12 plus 32, which is 44 kilogram per kilomole. So 8314.4 divided by 44. 8314.4 divided by 44 will give you R for carbon dioxide. Temperature is given as 334 Kelvin. The pressure is given as 88.7 bar. Z value we have to find out. How to find out the value of Z? Okay. So first we need to estimate the value of the reduced pressure. What is the formula for reduced pressure? P by PC. So the formula for reduced pressure is P divided by PC. What is the value of P? It is given as 88.7. It is given as 88.7 divided by 73.9. Okay, 88.7 divided by 73.9. You will get some numerical value here. Similarly, estimate the value of TR. TR equal to T divided by TC. What is T? T is 334. Divided by 304. And you can see that in this particular case, both of them are getting a value greater than 1. 1.2 and 1.1. So this is 1.2. This is 1.1. Okay. So we are able to estimate the value of reduced pressure and temperature. Now listen carefully. Okay, I'm going to the previous slide. Okay, we get PR equal to 1.1 and PR equal to 1.2. Okay, so 1.25 would be exactly at the center of 1 and 1.5. So let me move a little bit to the left side to get 1.2. And from here, if you draw a straight line, mine is not a straight line, you can draw a straight line by taking a printout of this particular compressibility chart, and you can draw a horizontal line to the y-axis to get the value of Z. So it is somewhere close to 0.6. Pressure is 1.2, reduced pressure is 1.2, TR is 1.1, and so you get the value of Z somewhere close to 0.6. Okay, let's see what is the value of Z that they are getting. 0.62. Okay, so if you guys are able to draw a proper straight line, it is closer to 0.6. So the book answer is 0.62. Okay, once you get the value of Z, you can substitute it inside the integral. So inside the integral, we have okay. So because they have used or given it as 1 mole, we can't use this is not a big issue because it is P small v. Okay, it is only 1 kilomole, right? So you need not introduce this n. It is simply 1. Okay, but when you use it, then just a minute. So if we are using n, yeah, no problem. It is correct one. So this will be in kilomole. This will be in joule per kilomole Kelvin. So in the previous slide, so when I say PV equal to ZRT, in this particular case, we are using, because the moles is given, PV is equal to Z times NRU into T. See, you have to be very careful. See, I have overlooked this. This is what you will also be doing. Okay, so if you are not careful enough, you will be overlooking this and you will end up in a wrong answer. Because the number of moles is given. Okay, so you have to substitute it as RU. So R value will be lesser than RU. So you will end up getting a wrong answer for your work done. Okay, so you have to be a little bit careful here. Okay, so that is your PV. So now if you substitute this Z and RU T, so in W equal to integral PdV, instead of P, you will have Z N RU into T divided by V times dV. Okay, for this particular problem, Z is a constant, number of moles is a constant, RU is a constant, and temperature is also constant because it is an isothermal process. So the left out is dV by V. So if you integrate it, you will get ln of V2 by V1, and V2 by V1, you can take from this problem, V2 is equal to V1 by 2. So V2 by V1 is 1 by 2. Okay, so V2 by V1 is 1 by 2. So you will end up getting ln of 1 by 2. So that is what you are right. That is what is written here, ln of 1 by 2. So they are getting a negative answer, which is minus 1129 kilojoule, which means this is a work input. Okay, it's not a work output, it is a work input. That is why you are getting a negative sign. Okay, so this is an example I have taken so that you can know how the compressibility chart can be seen. So you get the values of PR and PR, go to the compressibility chart, then look for these values and get the value of Z. Sometimes they give you the value of Z and PR, you have to get the value of TR. Whichever is being asked, likewise you can get the value. Okay, so this is an example I have taken for compressibility chart. Okay, we will end up with this one problem. This is an example in Van der Waals equation of state. So determine the pressure exerted by carbon dioxide in a container of 1.5 meter cube capacity when it contains 5 kilogram at 27 degrees centigrade. Very simple. They have given you the volume, they have given you the mass, they have given you the temperature 27 degrees centigrade. If you add it with 273, you will get 300 Kelvin. And remember, the material inside is carbon dioxide. So R will be RU divided by molecular mass of carbon dioxide. Okay, and you have to use ideal gas equation of state and Van der Waals equation of state and see what value do you get for the pressure. So for ideal gas equation of state, it is very simple. PV is equal to PV is equal to MRT. Okay, and R is RU divided by molecular mass of carbon dioxide. So you know the value of R. Mass is given to you in the problem. Temperature is given to you in the problem. Volume is also given to you in the problem. So P is MRT divided by V. A very straightforward answer for ideal gas equation of state. What about van der Waals equation of state? As I have already mentioned, you have to be a little bit careful here. So it is P plus A by V bar squared. Don't forget that it is V bar. Don't be in a hurry and write it as V squared. It is V bar squared multiplied by V bar minus B equal to RU into T. What are all the known values here? I don't know the value of pressure. That is what I'm supposed to estimate. A is given to me in the problem. They have said it is 3.6285 into 10 to the power 5. B is given to me in the problem. It is 0.40422. RU I know 8314.4. T I know it is 300 Kelvin. Do I know V bar? Is it possible to get the value of V bar? What is given to me is volume. So volume divided by number of moles will give you the molar volume. But I don't know the number of moles also. So what is the formula for number of moles? Mass divided by molecular mass. So mass divided by molecular mass. So volume into molecular mass divided by mass. So volume is 1.5. Volume is 1.5. Molecular mass of carbon dioxide is 44. This is 44. And the mass happens to be 5 kilograms. So now you will get V bar in meter cube per kilomole. So you will get some answer in meter cube per kilomole. So now you know the value of V bar also. So you have to substitute the value of V bar here, and then you will end up getting the value for pressure. The only thing which you have to be careful is don't substitute straight away in volume, convert it to specific molar volume and then substitute it in the equation. You will get the answer for pressure. So for ideal gas equation of state, the pressure is 1.8895 bar. For van der Waals equation of state, I get it as 1.875 bar. Okay.